Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. We are back once again talking about some big news coming out of the LEC. We are talking about Team Vitality once again. They just have a very, very big offseason ahead of them. Obviously, 2022 was a disaster in a lot of ways. Spring Split was very disappointing, and Summer Split was one of the biggest disappointments in LEC history, really. A team like this with Alfari, Perks, Karzi, a guy who had just won 2 championships last year, went to MSI, went to Worlds, got out of groups, did all this stuff with Lebrov, with Selfmade, and then obviously Haru coming in was kind of random, but just so much expectations, and then not even making playoffs in the summer is just so memeable, so disastrous. They have money to spend. They keep saying they want to build this super team or build a team that's going to do something. They haven't been able to do it yet. There's going to be a lot of moving parts. We don't know what's going to be happening. We don't know who's going to be staying, going, anything like that, but we do have a couple new big announcements. We got this from Haru. I wanted to start out with this. He said, I'm still contacted to Team Vitality, but they've allowed me to explore options for 2023. So I don't think this is super surprising. I do think it's interesting how every team operates a little bit different. Some teams will just, the players are not interested. They will just cut them. They'll release them. Like we saw with Team Liquid, they let Hansama go. He's now a free agent. Yes, they're not going to be getting a buyout or anything, but Hansama is also free to go do whatever he wants, and he doesn't need the team's permission and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't seem like Vitality's doing that. Obviously, Vitality has no use for Haru going into 2023. He was okay. He was not that good in LEC, and they have Bo coming in as their jungler for next year anyway. I'm assuming Haru's going to end up somewhere in the ERLs. I'm assuming he's going to be, one of the better ERL junglers, but just probably not good enough to be an LEC jungler, at least on a good team at this point. Maybe he ends up on like SK or Astralis or something like that. But kind of where we're at right now. So they did announce this, which means a lot of this stuff's going in motion. We saw Lebrov say that he's allowed to contact other teams. We saw that Haru says he's allowed to contact other teams. And then Haru, not super surprising, and this one's not super surprising either, but probably the most important one out of all this, Selfmade, saying that he is still contracted with Vitality, but they've allowed him to explore options. That's another interesting one because, again, Selfmade during the summer split was kind of in contract hell. They weren't playing him, but they also didn't release him. They kept his contract. They're, I guess, trying to sell off Selfmade. They're trying to sell off Haru. They're trying to sell off Lebrov, even though I don't think there's a great market for any of these players. Like, who's going to be buying out Haru from you? Who's going to be buying out Lebrov from you at this point? And even Selfmade, who at his best can be a very, very good player, after he's been, didn't have that great of a spring, and then get benched for summer, who's going to buy them out? Like, if you're going to get rid of them, you're better off probably just releasing them, probably just letting them go find another team, rather than maybe trying to sell them off for a little bit of money and maybe potentially keeping them from getting other opportunities or something like that. But yes, Selfmade is now able to contact other teams. So I tweeted out something like, hey, Selfmade, he seems like he's going to be leaving Team Vitality. Not a shocker, again, with Bo coming in, and he got benched for the summer split anyway. Where do you want to see him end up, or where do you think he could end up? And that's where things start to get a little bit spicy. Selfmade, again, at his best, is really like an MVP level player in the LEC. Now, is he at a point where he can be his best? Can he only be his best in certain metas? Does he need certain teams to play around him a certain way? I don't know. When he was on Fnatic, he was still really damn good. And when he was on SK, he was really damn good. Came over to Vitality and was okay to pretty good at times, but was just pretty like meh or pretty forgettable at times as well. But obviously, Team Vitality had all kind of issues, and he didn't necessarily fit in with this roster. So it's hard to, maybe knock that against him that much, but he does seem a little bit meta-centric. He does seem like, obviously, in some of the more carry-centric jungle metas, he's going to be one of the best players in the league, but year in, year out, split in, split out, is Selfmade consistently going to be like an S tier or even A tier jungler in the LEC? I don't know. We're still really at the point where we don't know if that's the case. But as far as teams that could be interested in him, one of the teams that gets thrown around the most often at this point, and one that I think could be really spicy, is K-Corp. If K-Corp does end up getting into the LEC, yes, K-Corp has the option of like using Xerxes as their jungler from Astralis. Yes, K-Corp could go after a guy like Marcoon, who's about to be a free agent. K-Corp could maybe even go after a guy like Spica, who said he would be open to top LEC offers, or like really, really good LEC offers from teams. But if not, you got to remember K-Corp's jungler right now is 113. 113 is nowhere near ready for the LEC. He's not a guy that's going to be in the LEC next year. So if K-Corp's looking for a jungler and Selfmade could potentially be available, Selfmade K-Corp could make a heck of a lot of sense. Obviously, there's Team Heretics that's coming into the league as well. They are taking over the Misfits slot. If Misfits or Team Heretics or whatever doesn't want to roll with Zlatan or Zanzara, they could maybe look at Selfmade. Other than that, I don't know if there's a whole lot of teams that stand out to me as like great landing spots for Selfmade. I mean, if he wants to go to a lower tier team, like I said, something like an SK or something like that, I don't really see him going to like a BDS or a team like that. I don't know. There's definitely a couple options for Selfmade. Again, he could also maybe go to like top ERL teams, but I don't know if Selfmade would rather stream or play ERLs or what at this point in his career. Because it's weird. We've only seen Selfmade for a couple years. Like it's been a really fast kind of rise and fall. And then there's of course the option of potentially going to the LCS, because there could maybe be some options for Selfmade over there. Now I have no idea if Selfmade wants to go to the United States, if he would even consider it or whatever. But you can see here LCS Eevee dropping the top comment of, yo, I heard TSM is looking for a jungler, and I think that honestly could be a little bit spicy with TSM losing Spica, missing out on Bo, and the fact that there's not a ton of great junglers available in North America. There are some up-and-coming ones in Academy that maybe people are a little bit excited for. Kenvi was that #1 prospect. He's on Immortals now. And other than that, TSM didn't have an insane Academy jungler. Maybe they can look to get another Academy jungler, or maybe they could look to import. Maybe they could look to grab a guy like Selfmade, who you'd be buying low on a guy with a really, really high peak, a really high ceiling, and also a fun, interesting, exciting player with a big fan base that would get people excited, which is a little bit what TSM needs at this point. Now, again, we know TSM probably isn't looking to spend a lot of money, since they only offered Spica 100,000 more than what he made last year, which was probably on, not very expensive contract in the first place. So I don't know if that sounds all that likely. As far as like other teams in the LCS, Selfmade could always end up on random teams, like how Blue came over to Dignitas. Maybe, I don't know, teams like FlyQuest, or if new teams come in like Sentinels or Beasts or whatever. But there doesn't really seem like a ton of awesome options for Selfmade right now. I know a lot of people are saying Heretics, a lot of people are saying K-Corp, stuff like that. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it seems like Selfmade is going to be available, which again is not totally shocked. But then something even more interesting that comes out of all of this is we've had Lebrov say that he's allowed to explore options. We've had Haru, we've had Selfmade. The guys that we haven't heard from. We haven't heard anything from Alphari. We haven't heard anything from Perks. And there's some people who say, oh, they should kick Perks, or oh, they should kick Alphari. That was always going to be pretty unlikely. This whole team was kind of built around Perks and Alphari in the first place, and them coming over it together as a package deal. We also have Carzzy, who hasn't really tweeted anything out. And there's definitely a lot of people who were very, very critical of Carzzy's play in 2022. A lot of people who said Carzzy and Lebrov should both be out. A lot of people who said they should keep Lebrov and get rid of Carzzy. Carzzy has not tweeted anything out. It obviously seems like the team is having meetings with a bunch of these players. It's no coincidence that everyone is tweeting these out, within the same like 24 to 48 hour period. So nothing from Carzzy yet. So could that be a sign that they're potentially keeping Carzzy for 2023? I wouldn't say for sure, but it's definitely a sign that might be a possibility. But also maybe the spiciest one of all is Mephisto, their coach, who people are very, very critical of. This is like one of the, I don't know, it just seems like a coach people don't have a ton of respect for. People don't really think he's all that great of a coach. And again, just based off the work that he did with Vitality in 2022, I'm not sure a whole lot of people are really excited about him at this point. He has not tweeted anything out. So is it possible that he is also going to be returning into 2023? I don't know. That would be a little bit strange to me. But yeah, no word yet from Perks, Alphari, Carzzy, or Mephisto. But we do know that, again, they're not necessarily out. They're not necessarily kicked, but they're likely out. They're likely not returning to Vitality in 2023. Haru, Selfmade, and Lebrov, and it'll be interesting to see where all those players end up. I could definitely see Lebrov and Selfmade in the LEC next year. I really don't expect Haru to be, but it's also going to be a tough market for Lebrov and Selfmade as well. There's a lot of good players out there, and there's just 10 LEC teams, so it's never easy when you get kicked from one team or benched from one team or whatever to necessarily land on your feet, but I hope all these guys do. I hope the future's bright for them, but especially Selfmade. He's the most fun. He's the most exciting. He's probably the best player too, especially at his peak, and I think we're ready for Selfmade to return to the LEC. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below letting me know where you guys think Selfmade will be playing or should be playing in 2023. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.